For those of you that have been here for a while, you would have heard me waffle about water before, about my journey with water, so on and so forth, how it was the thing that I actually became disciplined with far before training. However, recently, I have changed my water source quite dramatically. During my journey with water and being very conscious of the water that I drink, I've gone from bottled mineral water to bottled spring water to filtered water from a drinking tap in the house, to now, which has probably been my biggest evolution and my most radical change, has been using I want to say filtration system, but I don't think that quite does it justice. Simply put, I have invested in a water filter of sorts, for lack of a better term, that increases the pH and hydrogen levels of your water and removes chlorine. Now, this is something that has surprisingly actually had quite a big impact on me in the short period of time that I've experienced it, I guess you could say. I found myself needing far less water to be hydrated. However, the filter isn't the only thing that I've done. I've been adding Celtic sea salt to my water, which gives you important electrolytes, mainly sodium, right? And when you train every day, electrolyte depletion is a real thing, right? That's why most people who use the sauna often seem to be actually doing themselves a disservice, because they are wrecking themselves. They're stripping their body of so many essential minerals. Along with the not needing to drink as much water due to the quality of water that I'm drinking, and my body's, due to the amount of hydrogen in the water, it's more absorbable to your body. This is kind of how I understand it. I have a very basic understanding of it, but it's more absorbable to your body. So I guess pound for pound, you could say, the amount of water you're drinking is being used more so by your body. It has more oxygen in it, and your body is able to eat it up a little bit better. Anyway, I'm not here to educate you about water because I don't know enough about it, to be quite frank. However, I believe that it's something that we could all be a little bit more conscious of and adopt little practices on a daily basis to improve our water intake, and then subsequently have to drink less water. If you can afford a pH filter that increases the amount of hydrogen in your water and filters out chlorine and heavy metals, so on and so forth, then by all means, like, invest in that. It is well worth it. The amount of metal that we put in our body due to the water that we drink is ridiculous. If we can avoid bottled water, even better, especially plastic bottled water. If we can avoid that, then do so, because as great as it seems and as good as it all sounds, the reality is you can't avoid plastic consumption when you're drinking bottled water. This is coming from somebody who spent years drinking bottled water thinking I was doing something good for myself. And then on top of that, adding a good quality sea salt like Celtic sea salt changes everything. All of a sudden that water becomes far supreme. It brings so much more to you and your body than simply just hydrating you. You're also remineralizing yourself. And with today's culture, the amount of coffee that we drink in particular, we spend more time drinking things that strip us of our minerals, i.e. coffee, than we do replenishing those minerals. And personally, like, I've found an insane uptake in my skin, first and foremost. Like, I always used to be, from grappling, I always used to be susceptible to like little micro tears and around my face, around my nose, so on and so forth, that would always get like really irritated and really irritable. Yet, since upping my salt intake, making sure I'm getting all my minerals in through Celtic sea salt and shilajit mainly, in combination with good quality water, it's been, I haven't had any sort of skin issues. I haven't really broken out much. I haven't had any pimples really from training all the time. And one thing I've also noticed is the health of the skin in and around your nails. Now, it sounds strange, right? But I use it as a big signifier. You can tell a lot about your current state of health, in my opinion, based on the quality of the skin around your nails. I remember when I was moving for the first time, my food was off, my sleep was off, my water intake was off, my training was taking a hit. I remember one day looking down at my nails and thinking, damn, I have never ever seen the skin around them this bad before. Never in my entire life have I seen them this bad. Every single nail was peeling ever so slightly. And that told me, damn, bro, you are depleted. You are not doing yourselves any favors and you are suffering for it. And if you don't change it now, fix it now, you're going to continue to suffer for it for a long period of time. So yeah, man, be conscious of your water. I just threw that in there, truthfully, because a friend of mine asked me to. I just spent the last hour and a half like researching it, so my mind's a little bit fried right now because I'd had a decent idea of like it in a basic way, but not to the point where I felt like I could deliver it. As you can tell, I didn't, through all that research, get to a point where I felt like I could confidently deliver it. But I've got all this information just like floating around in my mind right now, and it's just a bit of mash up at the moment. But before I go, I wanted to talk about today's session because I got 100 for 5. They were supposed to be tempos with a pause, and whilst I maintained some sort of tempo, it wasn't the 5-second tempo that I was supposed to, having watched the footage back, and the pause wasn't as long as it should have been. But 100 kilos for 5 on the front squat with good tempo and a pause for most of the reps, I was over the moon, felt sensational. Especially after having done that Muay Thai class last night, I was kind of worried, right? I was kind of worried that I was going to be a little bit, how'd I put it? A little bit fatigued, a little bit drained, like physically. I was thinking, okay, maybe my shoulders might be a bit tight, or just I might be a bit tight in general. It's been a long time since I've done anything of the sort. So being able to perform to that level, that was really nice. It was really fun. And the best part about it was the fact that my glutes, quads, hamstrings was nowhere near failure. I shit you not, that they could have gone for another rep or two. Even my back, my mid back and upper back could have gone for 2, 3, dare I say it, maybe 4 more reps. The thing that held me back was my wrists. My wrists could not take the load for that period of time. The strain on them towards the end had me literally having to almost hold the bar like this rather than being able to get my wrists right under the bar. My wrist mobility is currently the thing that lets me down the most in the front squat, which is a real shame because I feel like my performance in it would be significantly higher if it wasn't for that. Every single set I did today that was a working set, I felt like I had a lot more in the tank where it mattered. But my wrist said no. My wrist said, nope, you do not have that capacity just yet. So that is something that has to be worked on, has to be built on. And if I really want to improve that specific thing, being my wrist, then I have no choice but to do some wrist workouts like the gymnasts do, which is something that I've been aware of for a very long time but have neglected through ill discipline and just finding that shit boring as fuck. But if you want to be great, you gotta do that stuff, right? Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you sitting through my uneducated waffle with regards to water. I hope you took something from it. Something's better than nothing, right? Just be a little bit more conscious of the water that you drink. If you can afford it, don't get plastic bottles, get glass bottles. Don't drink from a plastic bottle, even if it's good plastic and no la-di-da. Just get yourself a stainless steel bottle that you can use wherever you go. Stainless steel's not that expensive. If you can afford it, get yourself an ionizing filter that alkalizes your water, ionizes your water, gets rid of the chlorine, increases the pH and the amount of hydrogen in it, and serves your body better. And on top of that, if you can afford it, invest in Celtic sea salt. Slap a little bit of that under your tongue before and after every workout, put a pinch of it in your water, and you'll notice very subtle little changes in your health that can only serve you, right? Can only give you more energy. So if nothing more, then I hope you took something. Thank you very, very much for watching. Anybody who's more educated on this topic and knows more than me, I'd love to be educated about it in the comments if you don't mind. And on that note,